Welcome to a new science unit. We call this Landforms. We just had our environments unit, and we had all sorts of things happen there. But, of course, in distance learning, it's going to be a little bit different. We'll do our best to try to make it something that you can get a lot out of and enjoy following along with. I'm Mr. Gawreluk. As you know, I teach at Franklin Elementary. I teach fifth grade, and I have my students that are used to seeing my face just about every day. Some of you who are new to this, sorry, I can't do anything about the face, but hopefully you don't get too scared of seeing me every other day, however often your teacher assigns this to you. So the first question is, what are landforms? And if this is our science unit, and it's going to last us a while, we're probably going to have a lot of conversations about what is a landform, what do we need to look for. Is it kind of a duh thing, or is it something that we really have to dive into and study? I think what you'll find is it's probably a combination of both. You can walk outside, you can go to different places, and you'll see landforms really all around you. So in a sense, it is kind of a duh thing. But let's see what our next step is with landforms. Oops, I bumped my screen. So what are landforms? Well, they're natural shapes, features of the Earth's surface. You would definitely know what a landform was if you were living next to an active volcano. You'd probably tell yourself, not only do I see it, but I hear it, I smell it, and I can feel it. Just don't taste it. It's probably not so good. But an active volcano would definitely be a unique landform. There are many different types of landforms found on the Earth. And in our home, sweet home of Minnesota, we have our own unique landforms. And we'll talk about those as we move ahead. One of the things and some of the things that we want to talk about with these essential questions, and of course, this is probably a little bit hard to see, but that's why I'm here to read it to you. How are landforms created, and how do they change? Is that change slow, or does it happen quickly? Your first inclination might be, well, duh, landforms were here, and they change really slow, but think about it a little bit. Give yourself a chance to think about maybe some things that have happened in the news over the last 6 months. Things that have happened that you've heard about by watching, say, Discovery Channel or Nat Geo or something like that. Maybe a YouTube video of some sort. How do scientists develop and use geographic models to explain how different systems work? Geographic models. Well, that might make you think of a time when you built something. And maybe it was a volcano. Maybe it was for a science experiment. Last year, I had some students build some landforms out of some things that really turned out cool, and they brought it into school. Well, we're not going to be able to do that, but you will have a chance to show your teacher and show your class maybe some of the things you're making, and people can clap for you, or slow clap, or finger clap, or nose clap, or however you guys do things, but that's something that you all can talk about. How can a community prevent a natural disaster? That's an interesting question because, we talk about wildfires out in California, or we talk about hurricanes and flooding. Are those preventable? Is an earthquake preventable? Or could the damage be preventable? Something to think about. What should we do about these wildfires? We've heard of solutions, everything from raking the forests to changing how we build and where we build. Maybe more water, maybe, I don't know, but we'll talk about this as we go. And the water question is interesting because we talked about that with environments. So we're going to make some connections between science units here because there's so much to connect with the land and with what lives on the land. How do humans determine when it's ethical to make changes to the land? For example, are there places on the planet we should be protecting? Why should we protect them? Is there something unique about them? Is there something that we want to preserve? Those are questions that people ask themselves every day when they're talking about, we want to protect this place. We want to do something special with this. Or we want to take care of good old Minnesota. How does the scientific process help us? So obviously that leads to, what is the scientific process? And we'll learn about that. But I bet a lot of you probably already have a feeling that it has something to do with coming up with a really good question. And these are essential questions. So, and how is the engineering process important to future changes? Engineering. Well, obviously, there's something with building and tinkering. If you like to build or tinker, if you like to tear apart and and put things back together again, you like engineering. That's something you enjoy. You might have that kind of brain, that kind of mind that likes to see how things work. I know people like that. I bet you do too. You might be related to people. You might have a little brother or sister who just loves to take stuff apart. And you're always like, leave it alone. I don't want you taking my stuff apart. In fact, that leads me to, if you have a little brother or sister who takes things apart, and that make you cry. And by the way, this is Greta's new friend, if you didn't know that. Might make you cry. We don't want anyone to cry. We want people happy. So little brothers or sisters, if you're watching this with your older brother or sister who's in our class, leave their stuff alone. Okay? We don't need you to practice your engineering process to figure things out. All right, let's talk about Minnesota. Home sweet home. What do you notice about this map? What do you notice about our state? Do you see some things that are unique to Minnesota? Have you ever been anywhere else? Have you been to different parts of our state? Boy, I'm coming up with really good questions. That's just my mind going crazy right now. But boy, I'm coming up with some questions, don't you think? What kind of landforms do you see? Do you see any landforms? Mr. G, I just see green stuff. Well, maybe in the mirror or whatever, but look at this. Look at this. There's green stuff there, yes, but look at the shaded types of green. You see light green, dark green. You see some bumps. What might that mean? So that's something you can talk over with your teacher, something you can talk over with your class. What do you see in Minnesota that's unique? Well, do you see what looks like, I don't know, blue specks? What are those? Don't say the ocean. Please don't. And by the way, can you figure out where some of the towns are in our state that are popular? Do you have an idea where Minneapolis and St. Paul might be? And if you know where Minneapolis and St. Paul are, do you know where Anoka is from there in Ramsey? Or Champlin, Blaine, Coon Rapids, some of the other areas. How about Duluth? We know that Duluth is next to one of the Great Lakes, if not the greatest lake, called Lake Superior. So, what features exist in Minnesota that are unique? And also, were you aware of the fact that none of us were here 10,000 years ago, but there is scientific evidence that shows us that glaciers used to cover the state of Minnesota. Yes, glaciers. And they retreated. Now, they didn't physically retreat and scour over the top of the land. They did, but by retreating, I mean melting. And if something like a glacier melts, what's it going to leave behind? How about 10,000 of your favorite things that you like to play in the summer, or your dog likes to play in, or little brother or sister, or your mom or dad likes to fish in boat? You ever get pulled behind a boat on water skis or tubes or things like that? 10,000 of those formed because of a major landform type of geographic feature called a glacier. All right, so I've talked a lot about this introduction. We're going to be learning a lot about landforms. We have a lot of questions to answer. There's a lot that we want to learn about with our landforms that should make this really an interesting unit. My hope is to get some sand and some clay and some little containers here and show you some of the things and take your requests on some of the landforms that we could be making in our little container here. Now, I wish you had sand and clay at home. I'll have to pretend to throw you some here and there, but I'll take your requests and comments and try to make some of the best landforms we can find. Just to give you a quick preview, you know what those are, mountains and valleys. Here's some of the things that we're going to be talking about as we move forward. Yep, an island is a landform feature. Lakes, We love our lakes and ocean. We talked about ocean water the last time. Can you use ocean water to water regular plants? And I think we found out not a good idea. Anyway, that's where we're at. That's what we're going. What are landforms? We'll talk more about it as we go. I want to thank you for watching. Again, I'm Mr. Gawreluk. I teach at Franklin Elementary, and I have some of the greatest fifth graders you'll ever want to meet. And so I hope that you are able to enjoy this and do a little thumbs up on liking this thing. Have a great day.